Most people spend 40 years building a nest egg, then spend retirement watching it slowly get eaten alive by inflation, taxes, and a stock market that doesn't care how old you are. So the question isn't whether you need a hedge in retirement, it's whether real estate is the right one, or just a landlord nightmare dressed up in a blazer. Let's set the scene. Inflation hit a 40-year high just a couple of years ago. Bond yields were a bad joke for most of the 2000s and 10s. And suddenly, every retirement advisor in the country started whispering the same three words: buy rental property. It felt obvious, almost too obvious, like the universe finally handed retirees a permission slip to become their parents. Here's the machine running underneath all of this. Real estate has a built-in inflation hedge, because rents tend to rise with the cost of living, and a paid-off property produces income without you selling a single asset. Think of it like a fruit tree. You don't chop it down to eat, you just keep harvesting while the trunk keeps growing. But here's where the optimism gets a little wobbly. Interest rates climbed fast. Home prices stayed stubbornly high. And suddenly, the math that made a rental property look like a cash cow in 2019 looked a lot more like a cash drain in 2023. The headline, "Passive income through real estate," aged about as well as a sourdough starter you forgot in the back of the fridge. And psychologically, that shift hits hard, especially for retirees who bought into the dream late, stretched their budget, and are now staring at a leaky roof and a vacancy sign instead of a beach chair. Experts like economist Robert Shiller have long warned that people systematically overestimate real estate returns because they forget about maintenance, taxes, insurance, and the sheer emotional weight of being someone's landlord. Now let's zoom out, because real estate has gone through this exact push-pull probably a dozen times in the last century. The post-war housing boom, the savings and loan crisis of the 1980s, the subprime collapse of 2008, and now this era of rate shock and affordability crisis. Every single time, people swore it was different. And every single time, the long arc bent back toward property, holding its value better than almost anything else over decades. Real estate in retirement fits almost perfectly into the classic late accumulation and decumulation cycle. You're converting growth assets into income-producing assets, and property, historically, sits right at that intersection. Community forums, financial subreddits, and even old-school investment clubs are filled with 60 and 70-somethings swearing by their rentals, and also filled with people swearing at them. Both camps have receipts. The biggest misconception we need to kill right now is that rental income is passive. It is not. It has never been. And anyone who told you otherwise was probably also selling you a course for $397. What real estate offers in retirement is not passivity. It's leverage over inflation with a side of operational responsibility. And the moment you understand that distinction, you can actually make a rational decision. So what do you do with that? The historical lesson is almost embarrassingly simple. Retirees who win with real estate tend to own properties they understand, in markets they know, and they either have the health and bandwidth to self-manage or the margins to hire a property manager without crying about it. They didn't bet the entire retirement on a turnkey condo in a city they visited once they sized the position like a disciplined investor, not a gambler chasing a dream. The strategy here isn't conviction, it's calibration. Maybe one rental property represents 15 to 25% of your income-generating assets, not your entire net worth wearing a different hat. Process matters more than passion. Screen tenants methodically, maintain reserves for 6 months of expenses, and treat the property like a business because it literally is one. And here's the philosophical truth sitting underneath all of this. The retirees who sleep best at night aren't necessarily the ones with the highest returns. They're the ones who made decisions they can live with, regardless of outcome. Discipline and sizing aren't sexy, but they are the only two variables you actually control in a market that will continue to do whatever it wants. If you own real estate in retirement and things get bumpy, that's not failure, that's the cost of admission for an asset class that has compounded wealth across generations. And if you choose not to own real estate, a well-structured portfolio with REITs and dividend income can deliver similar exposure without a single maintenance call at 11 at night. The irony of the whole debate is this: the people most afraid of real estate in retirement are usually the ones who've never owned it. and the people most burned by it are usually the ones who owned too much of it. Balance is boring. Balance is also how you actually finish the race. So here's the real answer. Real estate in retirement can absolutely be a hedge, a legacy asset, and an income engine, but only if you enter it with eyes wide open, costs fully modeled, and ego completely checked at the door. It rewards preparation, punishes improvisation, and has absolutely no interest in your feelings. And if you're ready to stop debating and start doing, whether that means investing in real estate, finding a contractor for a property you already own, or connecting with a lender who actually understands your retirement timeline, check out our links in the description below and let us help you take the next step.